Today, I'm going to be sharing 15 common things you just don't need. All of this is actually based off of my own recent personal experience, at least most of it is. I would even venture to say I'm not currently a minimalist. I don't think that you have to be a minimalist in order to have a clutter free space or in order to have a thriving space. But I will say that for me, that is kind of my comfort area. I feel more comfortable in a more minimalist space. I feel less anxious, like I have more space to move around and to do the things that I like to do. And really, what brought it to light for me was this event that I'm putting together this weekend. By the way, before I forget, this weekend is the Modern Mom Simple Home Reimagined Summit. So if you are planning on getting your free ticket to the summit, now is the time. The kickoff call is Friday. Being in the position of running this event, being the host, I get to see all of the presentations first. And I started reconnecting to some of the things that brought me into a more minimalist lifestyle and, living a clutter-free life and sharing the messages I share in the first place. Honestly, it's made me feel motivated and inspired as opposed to feeling guilty and oh, I'm just not doing a good job. I can say that for me, a lot of the reason that these things piled up was mostly exhaustion, and things have started to slow down now. And now I'm able to kind of pull back and be reminded of what it is that I really want for my space. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that and about my getting back on track toward having a more minimalist space in future videos. And so I'm not going to spend too much time diving into it now, but I just wanted to let you know that the things that I mention here are not me telling you don't do this, this is bad, but me coming to realize after just letting myself go a little bit over the past year or two and then reevaluating after the fact, oh, these were the things that I really did not need in my space and I can't wait to get rid of them. Number one is fitness attire. I spent so many weeks, maybe even like a month, looking for the perfect piece of fitness attire, the perfect top that was going to look really cute with the yoga pants and all of that stuff. If you look at my video where I'm decluttering my wardrobe, a lot of the decisions that I'm making are based on what can I wear to go exercise. And while I don't think that I was wrong to tailor a good portion of my wardrobe to things that I can wear while working out, I definitely did not need fitness specific attire. And I can tell you why I know this. It's because I haven't reached for my fitness specific attire once. I've been wearing my hoodies, loungewear, comfortable long sleeve shirts, and one pair of tight pants that I already had in general. And so many times we can get stuck in these, oh, well, I need this particular type of tailored whatever to be able to do this thing that I want to do. And it ends up just not being the case. The second thing you don't need is all of the play structures and play equipment for your kids. Chloe, my youngest, is now about 2.5 years old. And it's funny because I pre-approved two fairly large, like larger than I would usually have inside of my home, playthings for her because I really thought that she would specifically like these things. One of them was a little ball drop that you drop the ball and it goes around and around. And then the other was a Hot Wheels car racer because she'd gotten really into cars and was pointing at cars all the time. And she does play with those two things. But after I approved those, a friend of Matt's came and dropped by like a whole bunch of toys and things for her. Christmas just happened. I'm sure they got new toys for their family, and there were some larger items in that. And so now when you look at all of the big, colorful plastic pieces of equipment that we have for her, like I would never have bought all of this stuff. I would never have looked at this collection of toys and been like, yep, that's what I want in my house. But somehow this is what we ended up with. A big reason for that is not even necessarily because of me, but because of Matt, and that he would see her playing with these different things that she hadn't interacted with before. And obviously she was really interested in them because they were new. They were things she hadn't played with before. And he has every right to want his 2-year-old to play with whatever he wants her to play with. It's not like I am the only person who gets to make these decisions. And so what I chose to do instead is to allow some of the things that seemed like they were different that, he really wanted her to have a chance to play with and to keep them and until she got tired of them, because I had a sneaking suspicion that she was going to stop playing with them eventually. And I feel like we're at that point now where she's not really playing with them. She would rather play with things that we're playing with. My point being, it can happen to the best of us, those who would never get it for ourselves, but you're not always the only person making those decisions. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you need to keep the things forever. And so part of my journey back into the minimalist lane is going to be to make some really important decisions about those toys. I don't need to clear them all, but actually, Erica Kirk had a really great session. She's one of the speakers in our summit that's coming up this weekend. And hers is all about decluttering 99% of the toys. And I love listening to Erica because she doesn't just say, oh, this is what you need to let go of. She has like research to back it up. She has different studies that have been done. She has like a whole scientific method that she's gone through with her own toys that she shares. And so it really adds a lot of data and interest in my mind to learning about different things that we can do. And then that's probably a big part of what's made me really look at the toy situation that we have going on here and decide it's time to reevaluate. Another thing that we just don't need is a whole set of spatulas, cooking utensils, different shapes of cooking spoons. In the midst of my exhaustion, we were running low on spatulas and we actually needed a spatula and a ladle. And so going onto Amazon to see what looked like it would look nice in our kitchen, not be crazy expensive, and would give us what we needed, I found this set and I was skeptical about the set when I first looked at it. I thought, that looks kind of like a lot. I fell into that whole trap of you're getting so much more with this one for the same price. And I know better, but I ordered the bigger set for the same price. And the utensils have been fine. Like there's nothing wrong with the spatulas or the spoons. We've definitely been using them. I got rid of like 50% of it as soon as I opened the box. I was like, yeah, we don't need this. We don't need this. And still our drawer is way beyond what I'm comfortable with. That's another area that's going to be getting a big revamp. We just don't need it. We don't need to have a different shaped cooking utensil for every meal we cook. We just don't. We don't need to have 4 different spatulas of varying widths, of varying slot hole sizes. It's just not necessary. The reason that I can tell you this, whenever I go to reach for a spatula, I don't sit there and pay attention to, okay, well, am I getting the one that's 4 inches or the one that's 5 inches? Does this one have like the right amount of slot holes? No, I just grab whatever one's closest and I use it. That's how I know that you don't really need all of that variation. And while we're on the subject of kitchen, another thing that we definitely don't need is specialty cooking appliances. There was a time where I was making a lot of lemon chicken, and we were probably making lemonade at the time too. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to enjoy cooking so much more if I just had a lemon squeezer, something where I wasn't having to use my hands to squeeze the lemons and dig out the seeds. And it just seemed like something that I would really need and get a lot of value and use out of. And maybe I did at first, but I can tell you I've made many chicken recipes over the past year. I don't think that I've used that lemon squeezer more than maybe once. And in fact, I made a chicken recipe just this past week and I was squeezing the lemons by hand because it's the faster, easier, like more convenient way to do it. And the lemon squeezer that I bought, because it was the only one that was in the Safeway that was near us and I just thought that I needed it right then, is like bulky and bright yellow and takes up such an awkward amount of space in that drawer. We think that if I buy this, I'm going to want to do this action, or I'm going to want to be the type of person who enjoys doing this. If I buy a lemon squeezer, then I'm just going to really thrive and enjoy making my own lemonade all the time. It doesn't pan out that way because that's not really how habits work. Habits aren't based on our purchases, they're based on our behaviors. Large furniture. Hear me out. You may have things that you've had for the past 20 years that you're happy with or you're not happy with, but you don't want to go out and buy new furniture. And I totally get that. You have to make important decisions with your finances on when you're going to buy something. And my bed is a king size bed. It's one of those that like the top lifts back, and I love this bed. I would never change this bed unless it for some reason stopped working. Please don't stop working. But there are areas where we have larger furniture and I've realized we don't even use the entirety of that furniture. So a great example is our sofa. We do have another sofa to replace it with currently, and I'm really excited about it. But I'm also nervous because of the other people in my household. My husband and my 16-year-old are both very opposed to change. They like things to stay the way they are. And I know that there's going to be a lot of pushback and maybe disappointment when we swap out this couch just because it's not what they're used to. But the sofa that we have now, even though we've gotten some compliments here on the channel, is just so large. It takes up a good portion of the small living room that we have. We're never in there taking up every seat on that sofa. And if I'm being totally honest, I personally have never been in love with the navy blue color. We got it because it was the only piece of furniture that both Matt and I could agree on because it was super comfortable. It came in a gray color and this navy blue color, but the gray color didn't have all the pieces. So we were forced to go with the navy blue. And we had been searching and doing our research and checking out furniture stores. And it has been a super comfortable sofa. Like we've slept on it. At this point, the padding is getting a little flatter and you can feel the wooden edges around each of the little sections. So it's getting less comfortable. You have to make sure that your hips fit into the dent in between. And it's just like, it's just more couch than we really need in that small space. Another area that I've already made the decision to not go big is with our coffee table. I've said many times that having an open space on the floor is really important to me for playing with Chloe, for doing my yoga, for stretching, and just having that space. I don't like having furniture that I'm constantly walking around in the middle of the room. So we've never had a big coffee table. Instead, we go with a smaller round coffee table that's mobile. So if we want to do something in the middle of the floor, we can just move that off to the side. I've seen so many houses that were just absolutely swallowed up by the giant pieces of furniture that were in any given room. Another thing that you really don't need is a variety of handbags or purses. I don't have multiple handbags, so I'm just going to say that. But here lately, I've been having to transfer my license and my wallet from my purse to a wallet that doesn't fit into that purse because I don't have a good system set up right now. I'm in between purses, I guess you could say. And just the act of having to move those pieces back and forth because I'm going somewhere where like carrying around a wallet isn't convenient, then I like switching everything back over into the purse. And I'm thinking, man, people who have like 5 or 10 or more different handbags or purses that they're constantly having to swap things back over, that's a lot. That's not only like a lot of closet real estate, but that's also a lot of time investment. I get irritated having to move those things back and forth. I don't want to have to do that. I would rather just have something in a convenient system where I can pick it up, grab it, and go. And so obviously I need to refine my system a little bit. That's a personal issue. Maybe you're a collector and that's totally fine. Obviously, that's your choice, but it's not something you need. Another thing you don't need is a different bottle for every cleaning task. You can usually use a make your own, mix it up cleaning solution that will work on all of the things. Definitely marketing plays a role in that, making you think that you need specialty cleaners for each little type of surface, even though if you think about it logically, you probably don't because a lot of those surfaces may even be the same material. That's another area where we can tend to buy in order to encourage ourselves to take an action that we want to take. Like, oh man, those toilets have needed to be cleaned for so long. Let me buy all these toilet cleaning things and then I'll really be encouraged to do it. And again, habits aren't built on purchases, they're built on actions and behaviors. Number 8 is bulk items. I know that a lot of people swear by bulk. I've never really been able to get into it. Honestly, I've tried going to Costco a couple of times and just wasn't for me. I didn't see anything that was so cheap that I really needed to buy giant boxes, and I just don't have the space for that. But one thing that really reinvigorated me on this whole idea of smaller products, not buying in bulk, not needing all of that extra stuff that's like busting out of your closets and everything, is Christine Jaspers. So she's going to be one of the speakers this weekend in our event. She lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in Manhattan, New York, with her family of 4. So they've got 2 kiddos and her husband and her. And the way that she's made this work and made it beautiful to where it looks like there's space, like it looks spacious and it's designed lovely. Just listening to her talk about the things that you learn you don't really need when you're in that size of a space is so eye-opening. And one of the things that she talked about was bulk, and I couldn't agree more. Another thing that you really don't need is overflowing stationery products. This is one that's challenging because they also tend to come in big batches. You'll get like a set of highlighters because you really like the color of 4 of them, but it comes with a pack of 10. So now you have these 6 highlighters that you don't even like the color of and don't want to use because they're bright and neon and obnoxious. And I remember growing up that pens were like a commodity. We would keep pens like in random drawers. You'd be searching around for a pen, you might find it anywhere, right? And so we would keep all of these different pens that even didn't have the cap on them anymore and were almost running out of ink because you just didn't throw away a pen until it was fully out of ink. And I don't know what it is about pens, aside from the fact that we need them so frequently. Like pens are something that we make lists all the time. You need to write something down. It seems like I just need to grab this and I need to have it readily available immediately so that I can write with it. And so it seems to make sense to keep them in all of these different places throughout the house and to not throw it away unnecessarily because because you want to have it there if you reach for it next time. I get that, obviously. But we end up keeping like all of these crappy pens that are not ones that we would even like go select if we were going to sit down and really be writing something. And then we still can't find a pen whenever we need it because we don't have a central hub to put it. I talked about that in a video recently. We just don't need all of the sets of pens unless you're an artist and this is a set of your art pens. Another thing that I would say most people probably don't need is exercise equipment. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people buy a treadmill or stair stepper and then it ends up just collecting dust in the middle or edge of a room, and they're very bulky. Now, at the same time, there are obviously several people who are really into things like Peloton and they use it religiously and that's a part of their fitness regimen. And by all means, if you're that person, then, keep your stuff. The only pieces of fitness equipment that I really need are weights, something that I can lift and push with, right? Resistance bands have been huge. You can use those in so many different ways. You can use them to stretch, you can use them to exercise. Those have been huge. And I can tell you, when I broke my ankle, that was something that they had me use quite often in physical therapy to rebuild my muscle mass around my ankle, was resistance bands. But something like that is so small. It like folds up and you could sit it in a little drawer. And then of course my yoga mat, which I would never get rid of because I enjoy it. Now, could I do yoga on the carpet without a yoga mat? Of course. But I actually use my yoga mat quite frequently. I like having a little bit of traction on my feet so that I'm not slipping and sliding all over the floor. Kind of sets the stage for the yoga ritual, if you will. 100%. If there's one area that can start getting super crowded and uncomfortable, it would be like makeup and face and beauty products. As you get older, you get a little bit drier and makeup doesn't work the same way that it always did. And so I've had to change my makeup over time. But it took me several attempts and tries to be able to find the one that actually worked. My point being, keeping and holding on to all of the duplicate and extras of types of makeup is not something that's ever going to benefit you. You're going to have the one that you go to that's working for you in that given moment. I certainly do. And, it feels weird and bad sometimes to throw away makeup that's still fine. It's just not fine for you. It really feels nice when you can have a little capsule makeup bag with just the pieces that you wear, and you know what to go to, when you're running out of something and when you need to re-up on it without having to bounce around and try all of these different things or hold on to all of these different things that you already know aren't working for you. Scrap pajama shirts. So are you one of those people who, whenever you have a shirt that gets a big rip or a big stain on it, or it's way too large so you could never wear it, and you're just like, we'll just throw that in the pajama pile, And so then you start getting this drawer that is just stuffed and overflowing with pajama shirts. And most of those, let's be honest, are not even pajama shirts that you actually reach for to wear because you have your go-tos, and these others just live rolled up and tucked away in your drawer. I'm just speaking from experience from when I was growing up. That was a common thing. If you stop wearing a shirt, it becomes a pajama shirt. And then you have this big collection of pajama shirts. Over the years, I've discovered that you actually do not need to keep every shirt that no longer works for you, that doesn't fit, or that has stains or holes that you're not actually going to love or follow through with sleeping in at nighttime. So let's talk about the towels, shall we? I have been known for my low towel count, and that's the same today as it always has been. 1 towel per person between Matt and myself, and we've gone up to 2 towels per person over the past couple of years, and now we're back down to 1 towel per person. Honestly, I did not notice much of a difference between having 2 towels for each of us and 1 towel for each of us. I've noticed it so little that I haven't once thought, oh, we need to go out and buy more towels. We have a towel per person. We hang them up to dry after, wash them probably once a week, sometimes twice a week. If I happen to be doing a load of laundry anyway, I'll just throw them in with the load. And that has been working out great for us. We have all of our shelves in our bathroom available for anything else, like putting rolls of toilet paper or, putting a little basket of Chloe's toys so that we don't have to keep them living in the bathtub. It's nice to be able to have that shelf space for the things that I'm actually going to want to have it for, and to not feel like I'm constantly washing full loads of just towels. Now, regarding the decor, I like having nice decor, but I've also found that over the past year or so, and trying to bring in pieces of decor that liven up the room and they're super intentional. Even in being super intentional about it, I've still ended up with things that don't really have a spot because I didn't have a super clear vision of where that piece was going to go when I bought it. I just knew that it was in line with the theme that I was trying to bring to life inside of my space. Both are important, but there are some cases where I left off one of the important little details. And so the first thing that comes to my mind is these little stone pots that I think are so pretty. They're so me, but at the same time, I can identify that I got this decor without a clear space to put it. And now we have a little more decor than what I would actually like to see inside of my space. And number 15 is cute cups. This includes mugs, tumblers, Stanleys, I guess were the big water bottle trend or whatever. My oldest daughter, who's now 18 and she's off at college now. And when she went off to college, I told her, you will take these, you will take these tumblers and all these water bottles and extra decorative mugs. Some of them were giant mugs too, like comically large. And you will take them with you or will store them away until you're done with college and you get a place of your own, because I will not keep these in my cabinet anymore. But I get it. Those things can be so pretty and so enticing to buy. And my recommendation is that when you go buy a set for yourself, whether it's a set of drinking glasses, a set of water bottles, a set of coffee mugs, that you just get something that you think is so adorable that nothing else could ever really replace it. Don't just settle for some standard, cheap, not very pretty set that you see at Target that you just get because you're moving into a place. Because then later on, as you see all of these adorable tumblers and these coffee mugs, you're going to be more encouraged to bring that. So those are my 15 long-winded suggestions of things that you probably don't need inside of your space. I've definitely learned over the years that I don't, and these are definitely considerations and points of attack for going forward in the next couple of weeks for myself to get back to a more minimalist space that I feel like I can really personally thrive in. And if you are a mom, you're looking to simplify, to declutter, to create more functionality with better systems and time management and digital tools, with a more optimized space, with better decluttering tips, organizing, and just reinventing the space that you live in, or you want to really dig into creating an environment that supports you on a deeper level with possibility and with, achieving your goals and your dreams and all of that good stuff, then you do not want to miss the Simple Home Reimagined Summit that's happening this weekend with a kickoff call on Friday, February 28th. You can grab your free ticket down in the description, and I hope to see you there.